everyone, it's Helen here from Bodywork-Pilates, and here we are again for another in our How to Get the Best From series. And today we're looking at plank. Now personally, not a huge fan of plank. I don't do plank challenges, I don't hold my planks for long, and to be honest, I don't do them that often. I think they're overused, and in the classical repertoire of Pilates, they're not a standalone movement, but you would see them perhaps incorporated in a couple of movements such as leg pull prone. But as I say, I think they're overused, and I think there's probably better exercises that we can do a lot of the time. However, I do appreciate that some people like doing a plank. So the important thing is that you do your plank really, really well, and that's what we're going to look at today, to make sure that you maintain an open spine, to make sure that you're set around your shoulder girdle and strong around the shoulder girdle, to make sure that you're in the right position to take off the strain, particularly from your lower back. That's what we're going to look at. So we do need to come around to the hands and the knees. And we'll start with a modified plank. So a modified plank from the forearms and the knees. So bring yourself down onto your forearms with your elbows directly below your shoulders, with your body weight drawn forward and your knees moved sufficiently away so that your thighs are on a forward angle. And then think of drawing the shoulder blades down, lightly engaging the abdominals, lift a little to pelvic floor, reach the crown of the head forward, and just bring your spine about parallel to the floor. You don't want your bottom back here, because that's not engaging your abdominals or challenging you. You don't want to be too far forward, because that would be stressful on the shoulders. So pressing up, widening the shoulders, finding a parallel-ish line and a natural curve to the low back. At this point, hopefully, shouldn't be feeling too much strain in your lower back. You might feel those abdominals just tightening a little bit more, and that's fine. You can, of course, do this from the toes, but we'll come back to that in a moment. But just notice, as you stay here, 30 seconds is more than ample. Just holding that position, finding the strength in the shoulder girdle, maintaining that sense of length, that lift of pelvic floor, those abdominals, and then press away. So because we worked with a shortened position, we tend not to sink as easily into the lumbar spine. But of course, when we come to extend the legs, our centre of gravity moves. Our centre of gravity generally is around about the point of the belly button, so in front of third and fourth lumbar vertebra-ish. And that's a really easy place for us to bend and sink into. And that's when people complain about feeling compression in their low back when they do plank. So we're going to see what we can do to alleviate that. So bring yourself again to the hands and the knees. Bring the elbows below the shoulders again, onto the forearms. Just make sure that you are loaded over the elbows, shoulders drawn away from the ears, abdominals engaged. Now step the legs back, and then just bring the body down again to a parallel line. I'm really lifting the backs of my knees, and I'm really pressing my heels away from me. That really helps to stabilize. Keeping those abdominals lightly engaged, watch out for sinking into the shoulders, push up, elevate, press firmly away from the floor. You'll feel again, perhaps those abdominals tightening a little bit more. Think about strong legs, strong thighs, lifted knees, pressing heels, crown of the head forward. We're breathing, and we're just making ourselves aware of the sensation around the low back. Just rest. So, if when you do that, you feel compression along here in the lumbar spine, you are probably sinking into that. Those hips are pulling forward, the belly's pulling forward, and instead of being a nice long line with a natural curve to the low back, you're becoming very sway backed. You're sinking into your belly button. So the best way to adjust that is, if you're in position, you can do it while you're in position, otherwise you can stop, have a breather, come back to it. but if you're in position, is simply to apply that slight lift up the front edge of the body from the pubic bone, as if you were imprinting your back in the mat in shoulder bridge. So it would be going from a level surface with a natural curve in my low back to just pulling the hip bones and the pubic bone towards me, so shortening the distance between my bony landmarks at the front edge of the body, just slightly, which immediately engages my abdominals and opens out the space in the low back. So you would apply that into your plank. So from here, taking myself into my plank position, okay, if I start to sink, all I need to do is re-energize my legs, pull the pubic bone slightly towards me, center the sacrum away, and immediately I've opened up the space of my low back. So practice that if you know that you struggle maintaining the position of your lower back in plank. And then of course you can do that on the forearms as well. Sorry, on the hands as well. We've done the forearms, so on the hands as well. So the same rules, hands below the shoulders, bring the body weight forward, really press firmly up, so we've got good energy coming up the arms. Just watch out for those elbows if you're one of those people that manages to really force their elbow through. A little bit of softness at the elbows, shoulders drawing away. Taking the legs back and bringing yourself into a ski slope. So we're not here. We don't want to be too far forward. We want to lift the backs of those knees, push the heels away, elongate the body. Try and get the front line of the body as you would do in standing. So if you don't stand like that with a fold at the hips, don't do plank like that. If you don't stand like that, don't do plank like that. So you're in your incline position from the back of the head right down to the heels, lifting the backs of the knees, pushing the heels away, engaging those abdominals, watching out for that sinking sensation that puts pressure into the back, and instead, if necessary, ever so slightly, just pulling pubic bone up the front edge of the body to elongate and strengthen. Keeping those shoulders mobile, legs active, and then rest. So you've three options there: forearm and knees, forearms and toes, hands and toes, but all the time paying attention to the energy around the shoulders, to the energy in the legs, and most particularly what you can do to diminish that compression that sits in your low back. So if you like doing planks, then hopefully that's helped. I'll see you again soon.